So, morning little chap, why have you come in to see me this morning? You should be asleep in your set. Sorry, you're so small I can hardly hear you. Oh no, they killed your mum last night. That's terrible. That's what they call the badger cull. It's cruel, ineffective, and a complete waste of money. Have a look at these video clips.
Stop the cull! And why are we still marching on the streets all these years later? It's because of the ignorance, corruption and greed that is allowing a badger cull policy to go on in this country that has no scientific validity, that is terribly cruel and is costing an absolute fortune. Wouldn't you agree? Yes. Firstly, the cost of this cull is absolutely disgraceful. We have spent the best part of £25 million, £25 million just killing over 4,000 badgers in this country. And that's why we've got to keep fighting. There is no scientific evidence to prove at all that a badger passes TB to cattle. There's lots and lots of evidence to show that it's been a form of industrial pollution that's washed over our wildlife from cattle. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Now we're led to believe that at least 1 in 5 cows in herds could have TB, but they're not showing up. In some instances, we could believe that it could be 1 in 2. And what this particular study showed is that you need to make significant improvements to the way the veterinary industry operates its testing systems. Well, I'm telling you now, the farmer sent me that study because he said nothing has been done about that since 2008. It's not been acted on. We're giving it you to the Badger Trust because we're angry as farmers, because we're being let down by the veterinary service and we're not even getting clear results for what is happening in our herds. So when farmers say to you and the NFU says to you, we have a closed herd, there's no way that actually TB could be coming in here, it could only be the badgers. That's complete manure, wouldn't you agree? Yes! We've calculated on the cost that we've seen so far. If they go to 10 new areas, you're over £100 million. 20 or 30 new areas, you're up to 200, 300, nearly £400 million in the next 4 or 5 years. You could be up to £500 million wiping out a protected species that's lived in our isles for over 500,000 years, and you're still not going to get on top of this disease. That is insane madness, wouldn't you agree? Yes! It's a disgrace that we're in a position where money can be wasted that way. But I'm afraid what's happened here is there's been a conspiracy between the veterinary industry on one side, the farming industry and government on the other. And what they've basically done is they played the badger blame game. Rather than try to tackle the underlying problems in the cattle industry and take tough decisions for the benefit of farmers long-term and taxpayers, it's easier for them to blame the badger. It's easier for them to keep going on in the public's mind that we must kill these animals. There is no justification for it. It's terribly cruel. And when Mark said what he said about the shooting these animals, we must think about this for a moment. Can you imagine what it's like for a badger, a shy nocturnal animal, low squat muscular animal, to be shot at night by a gunman that's probably spent most of his time shooting foxes and rats and has very little training? He's not going to kill that animal outright in many cases. That animal's going to crawl off and die of blood loss and organ failure. Can you imagine the pain and the horror that that incurs? Is that right in the modern world we live, for an animal that's protected, that we allow that to happen? Do you think it's right? No! And this is the thin end of the wedge. What we're talking about here is that farming and economic policy has a priority over wildlife protection. They'll come for our badgers today. They'll be coming for our otters and our beavers and our birds of prey next. We will have nothing left. Wouldn't you agree? Yeah. Let's not forget about what's going on in the fields. Because at the end of the day, what we're seeing out there is unique. There is nothing like it anywhere else in the world. There is nowhere, in my view, that people would go into the fields on cold, dark nights to put themselves between gunmen and badgers to protect them. That's what makes us unique. That's what makes me proud to be British, and that's why we must continue to mobilise. We must continue to get out there. As these culls expand, we must go where the culls go. We must organise ourselves into wounded badger patrols and action patrols and actually really take steps to try and ensure that we will be heard and seen, and we will be vigilant, because we're bearing witness to cruelty.
The only real piece of science designed to look at the impact of killing badgers on TB was the so-called randomised badger culling trial. That took place over a period of 10 years, cost £50 million, and it cost 11,000 badgers their lives. And the conclusion of the scientists who set up and evaluated that trial was that badger culling can make no meaningful contribution to the control of TB in cattle in Britain.
I know it doesn't help you right now, knowing why your mother was murdered by a man with a gun last night, but believe me, there are thousands of people all across this country who are trying to help you, your family and your friends to get this crazy badger cull stopped, so you can go on and live a long, happy life.